Welcome to the journey. What follows is not merely a story. It is a map, drawn from ancient Zen tradition, unfolding across centuries of human yearning for peace, freedom, and inner truth. Whether you're lying in bed, restless with thoughts that won't settle, or sitting quietly, seeking something your words cannot name, this is your invitation to remember what you already know deep within. This path has been walked by sages, seekers, and ordinary people across the world. And perhaps, without knowing it, you too have already taken your first steps. The journey begins not in a monastery or on a distant mountain, but in the very place you are now. Stage 1. The great doubt, knowing you're lost. The first step in awakening is not a beginning. It is an interruption. Imagine yourself standing in a field of tall grasses under a twilight sky. You don't know how you got there or where you're going, only that you are lost. Not the kind of lost that happens when you miss a road sign, but a deeper disorientation, the quiet ache that whispers, "This isn't it." You've done everything right. You've worked hard, pursued dreams, tried to be good, to be loved, to succeed. And yet something's missing, a hunger the world cannot feed. This is what Zen calls the great doubt. It is not confusion. It is clarity breaking through illusion. For the first time, you stop pretending. You admit, the life I built is not enough. Western culture often calls this a crisis. Buddhism calls it a blessing, because only when we recognize our map is flawed can we begin to seek a truer way. Even the Buddha, once a prince shielded from suffering, entered this doubt. Upon seeing sickness, aging, and death truths no privilege could avoid, he left behind comfort to seek something real. The great doubt is your inner voice whispering, "Maybe I've been looking in the wrong place." It is the sacred beginning of the true path. Stage 2. Discovering footprints, signs along the way. When the seeker lifts their eyes, weary from wandering, something astonishing appears. Footprints. Someone has been here before. These aren't ordinary marks. They carry purpose, direction. They say, "You are not alone." For many, this moment comes through a book that speaks directly to their soul, or a phrase from a stranger that lands like thunder. Sometimes it's a line of poetry, a song, a dream, a breeze through the trees that reminds you of something forgotten. These are the signs that the path is real, that others have walked from suffering to serenity. In Buddhist tradition, this stage echoes the third noble truth that liberation from suffering is not only possible, but available. When we suffer, we often believe this is just how life is. But the footprints say otherwise. They point to the ancient, quiet truth. Peace is not an invention. It is a return. These signs invite us into humility. They say, you do not need to find your way alone. The path is already beneath your feet. Stage 3. Seeing the ox, glimpsing your true nature. After long wandering, you see it. The ox, vast, silent, calm, stands before you. Its eyes are familiar, as though it has known you all your life. In Zen, the ox is not a symbol of something to conquer, but of something already within you, your true nature, awareness itself. This stage is known as kensho, to see one's true self, not through thought or belief, but through direct, undeniable knowing. Maybe you felt it during meditation, a moment of peace untouched by circumstance, or in nature, when the world seemed to pause and hold you, or in grief, when everything fell away except a deep, steady presence. This is not a fantasy. It is the ground of being. It does not arise because of effort, but because you stopped long enough to see what was never gone. As Zen says, when the senses merge, the gate opens. Separation dissolves. The sky and the clouds are one. You and the world are not two things. You are awareness itself. Stage 4. Catching the ox, the struggle of practice. But seeing is not catching. You reach for the ox, and it bolts. Into hills, into ravines, into places you cannot follow easily. This is the stage where practice begins in earnest. Perhaps you've tasted stillness in meditation, but now your thoughts are louder than ever. You lose your patience, react in old ways, fall into distraction and doubt. The ox that stood calmly yesterday now seems distant again. This stage is humbling. Many give up here. They think they failed. But Buddhism teaches that effort is not about striving. It is about remembering. Just as a gardener does not force a seed to grow but nurtures its conditions, your practice now becomes a way to gently return again and again to what is already true. Right effort is not a force. It is a flow. You are not fighting your nature. You are unlearning what covers it. Stage 5. Taming the ox effort becomes natural. Something shifts. The ox no longer flees. It begins to walk beside you. It is still powerful, but now gentle. This is the stage where presence becomes more natural. Meditation no longer feels like struggle, but like nourishment. Awareness begins to infuse your days not because you're trying, but because you're remembering. You no longer need to watch yourself constantly. You trust. This is not complacency. It is spiritual maturity. You feel anger and know it is anger. You feel fear and hold it gently. You are not your thoughts, but the space they arise in. The whip and rope, your tools of practice, are still in hand, but they are light now. Your movements are attuned, responsive. The ox walks with you. You walk with life. Stage 6. Riding the ox home, becoming one. Then one day, something beautiful happens. You climb onto the ox's back. There is no struggle, no need for control. You and the ox awareness and identity move as one. You do not perform awareness. You are awareness. You do not remember presence. You live from it. This is the beginning of true integration. You may find yourself laughing more, acting spontaneously, creating effortlessly, not to prove or impress, but as a natural overflow of your being. This stage is like a flute playing itself. You are not trying to live mindfully. You have become the song of mindfulness. Stage 7. Forgetting the ox. Only the self remains. But then the ox disappears. You wake up one day and realize there is no ox to ride. This isn't a loss, it's a deeper homecoming. You no longer distinguish between awareness and self, seeker and path. There is just this, life, happening freely, and you, not apart from it. This is the stage of pure being. There is nothing to attain, nothing to lose. No need to manage or maintain presence. It simply is. You walk, and the wind walks with you. You speak, and the universe listens in silence. The ox has vanished. Only you remain. But now, you are different. Stage 8. Returning to the source beyond enlightenment. Even the self dissolves. You return to the stream, the river, the source before all names. No thoughts of awakening remain. No pride in progress. No enlightenment to proclaim. The teachings say, with the return to the source, effort ends, doctrine fades. You become like the tree that grows without thinking, the sun that warms without trying. Nothing is sacred, yet everything is holy. Stage 9. In the world with no trace. Now you re-enter the marketplace. You walk among people again, but without burden, without identity, without agenda. You are no longer a seeker, a practitioner, a teacher. You are simply human. You smile, you weep, you drink tea, you do the dishes, but in everything there is clarity and compassion. No one may know who you are, not even you, but your presence brings peace wherever you go. You move through the world like the wind, leaving no trace but changing everything. Stage 10. Laughing under the moon. The ordinary is the miracle. The final image is this. An old man walks into a village. He's barefoot, clothes dusty, a wide smile on his face. Children run to him. He laughs and shares tea. He is no one special, and yet the entire world rests quietly in his heart. This is the paradox of the path. You searched so long for the sacred, only to find it shining in the ordinary. You chased awakening, only to discover it had always been here, in every breath. Now, without seeking, without striving, without needing anything, you live as yourself. This is the full circle. This is awakening, not in some mountaintop stillness, but in the sound of your neighbor's footsteps, the quiet sip of morning tea, the gentle smile shared with a stranger. Here, now, home. Let the journey continue, not as striving, but as surrender. Not as search, but as song. The ox rests. The seeker smiles. The moon rises. Peace, at last, is no longer something to find. It is something to live.